you ever looked around and felt like everyone else knows exactly where they're going, except you? It's a strange feeling, like life handed everyone else a map, but somehow skipped you. No matter how hard you try, it feels like you're moving in the opposite direction. You keep putting in effort, yet somehow you never feel any closer. Every day brings another choice, another possibility, another what if. And instead of feeling excited, you feel frozen. You watch other people move through life so naturally. Meanwhile, you're left wondering why everything feels so much harder for you. Maybe you've started something, then stopped. Maybe you've changed your mind more times than you can count. And now you're beginning to wonder if something is wrong with you. You keep waiting for that moment when everything finally clicks. But the more you wait, the more distant that moment seems. Every option looks interesting, until it's time to choose. Then suddenly, none of them feel right anymore. Life keeps moving whether you're ready or not. And sometimes the hardest part isn't failing. It's not knowing where you're even supposed to go. You begin comparing yourself to people your age. Some already seem successful. Some seem completely certain about their future. And you quietly ask yourself, why not me? Your mind starts imagining dozens of different futures. The problem is, you can't live all of them. So instead of choosing one, you choose nothing. Days slowly become weeks. Weeks quietly become years. And without realizing it, you start believing you've already fallen behind. But here's the strange part. Even if someone gave you the perfect roadmap today, would you actually believe it was the right one? Most people think feeling lost means you don't know what you want. But that's only part of the story. What if the real problem isn't that you're lost? What if you've been waiting for certainty before allowing yourself to move? And this is where everything starts to change. Because psychology has a surprising explanation for why so many people feel exactly like you. Here's something most people never realize. Feeling lost usually isn't caused by a lack of direction. It's caused by walking in the same mental circles over and over again. For years, you may have worried about what everyone else thinks. So instead of making choices that feel right to you, you've been trying to make choices that look right to everyone else. Psychologists call this analysis paralysis. The more options you have, the harder it becomes to commit to just one. You don't need to have your entire life figured out today. Most meaningful lives grow one small decision at a time. Think about it like washing a dusty window. The world hasn't changed. Your view of it has simply become a little clearer. This is why tiny actions matter so much. One conversation, one new habit, one small step can create momentum you never expected. Motivation usually doesn't come first. Action comes first. And motivation quietly follows behind. Most people spend years searching for the perfect path. But the truth is, paths aren't found. They're created by walking. Sometimes life feels paused, and that's okay. A pause doesn't mean your story is over. It often means you're preparing for the next chapter. Your purpose doesn't have to sound like someone else's. It only has to feel honest when you hear your own inner voice. Many of us carry fears that protected us in the past. But eventually, those same fears become the things holding us back. What you've been calling your flaws may actually be the experiences shaping your strength. Cracks don't always weaken us. Sometimes they let the light in. Real change is surprisingly quiet. It doesn't always arrive with excitement or confidence. Sometimes it arrives as one peaceful moment where you simply decide to keep going. Progress isn't about giant leaps. It's about finally giving yourself permission to leave the station instead of waiting for the perfect time. And that's when everything starts to make sense. Maybe your journey was never supposed to look like anyone else's in the first place. Maybe you've been treating your life like a puzzle that's supposed to be finished. But life isn't something you complete. It's something you keep creating. The moment you stop trying to control every outcome, something surprising happens. Your mind finally has room to breathe. You don't have to become a completely different person. Sometimes, the person you've been searching for is simply the version of you that stopped pretending. Not every question needs an answer today. Some answers only appear after you've lived a little longer. You've probably spent years comparing your timeline to someone else's. But flowers don't bloom at the same time, and neither do people. When the noise around you becomes quieter, your own voice becomes easier to hear. That's often where purpose begins. Confidence isn't something you find before you start. It's something you quietly build every time you choose to keep going. You'll never see the entire path all at once. Life reveals the next step only after you take the current one. One day, you'll look back and realize you were never truly stuck. You were simply growing in ways you couldn't see yet. Everything you've experienced, every mistake, every delay, every uncertain moment, has been preparing you for this next chapter. The higher you rise, the smaller your old fears begin to look. Not because they disappeared, but because you've changed. Purpose rarely arrives as one big moment. It grows quietly through thousands of ordinary choices that slowly shape an extraordinary life. So if you still feel lost today, that's okay. Feeling lost doesn't mean you're broken. It often means you're in the middle of becoming someone new. Stop waiting for life to give you perfect certainty. Start moving, even if your next step is small. That's how every meaningful journey begins. Maybe you were never behind. Maybe you were simply taking the path that only you were meant to walk. And one day, you'll realize that feeling lost wasn't the end of your story. It was the place where your real journey finally began. You don't need to have your whole life figured out. You only need the courage to take the next step. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more psychology videos.